Namaskar and good afternoon to all of you. Today, we are going to have the last session, and that is on homeopathy, one of the most interesting session. Anybody who has used homeopathy in their life, they describe homeopathy as a miracle. Because with a very small dose, very minute, similarly small dose, just a miracle happens. And how does it happen? It is not clear to many. So today, though we are going to listen to homeopathy from two great experts, many of the places, if you read in the internet about homeopathy, lot of misconception, many other things are written about homeopathy. So it is better to know what homeopathy is from two very great experts. So presently we have with us Dr. Manish Bhatia. He is, after doing his BHMS, he did his MSc in homeopathy from UK, MD, and then CICH from ISCH Greece. He is presently Associate Professor in Organon of Medicine, SK Homeopathic Medical College. Let me tell you, Organon means the philosophy of homeopathy. He is the founder director of hpathy.com. This is a very popular site for the last 20 years, world's leading homeopathy portal, serving homeopathy to more than 500,000 people every month. He is the director of Asha Homeopathy, Jaipur's premier homeopathy clinic. He is the founder homeopathybooks.in, the world's largest online homeopathic library with nearly 200 books and 450 historical journals, which are absolutely free. He is the editor for Homeopathy for Everyone, world's leading homeopathy e-journal with more than 65,000 subscribers globally. He is the author of the well-known book Lectures on Organon of Medicine, 3 volumes, available in English, German, and Bulgarian. He is the contributing author to the book Homeopathy and Mental Health Care, Integrative Practice, Principles and Research. He is the co-editor of the book, The Fireside Book of Homeopathy Tales. So we are fortunate to have him today with us. He will explain to us what homeopathy is, the basics, and how it can cure, or what are the major diseases it cures, the chronic diseases it cures, and also the psychosomatic diseases. So now I am really glad to invite our speaker, esteemed speaker, Dr. Manish Bhatia. Sir.
Hello. Namaskar, Amit, and a very warm welcome to all of you who are listening to us today. I would like to thank LNMIIT and Dr. Amit Niyogi for organizing this wonderful meet, where they are talking about all the alternative systems of medicine and what, how these systems can complement the general medical practice, and where do they stand in the overall scheme of health. So my concern is primarily with homeopathy, as I'm a homeopath. I would like to begin with something that you should know: what is the difference between allopathy and homeopathy? To understand this difference, I would like to start with an example. You all must be knowing someone in the family, in your friends, in your parents, amongst your relatives, somebody who has got asthma. Now, asthma is a very common illness. बहुत common होती है, सब बहुत आसानी से asthma के patients मिल जाते हैं. When we are saying asthma, what do we mean by it? We mean by it that because of some allergic reaction, some hyperallergic reaction, the bronchioles constrict, there is not enough air going inside, and there is, as a result, there is difficulty in breathing, there is hypoxia, and that is called asthma. How do allopathic doctors treat it? They primarily give an anti-allergic medicine and steroids to reduce the allergic reaction, and bronchodilators like acetylene to open up the airways. But is it a cure? Because what they are doing is they are not addressing the root cause of asthma. Why is the body responding like this? Somebody comes in contact of dust or dust mites or a pollen, and they develop this asthmatic reaction. So when you give anti-allergic medicines, steroids, and bronchodilators, that reaction is curtailed for a couple of hours, for a day, but it does not stop that reaction from occurring again. The moment the effect of the medicine is over, you are again in the same state. And why is it so? Because the conventional medicine is not able to address the root cause of the problem. Why has this body, this person, started developing this reaction? And why is this person reacting this way and not the other people? Like 5 people who come in contact with pollen, not everybody starts sneezing. Not everyone will start having difficulty in breathing. 1 or 2 might have, but why are these 1 or 2 people developing that reaction? Why is their body reacting that way? That something needs to be addressed. And that is this philosophy is same with all allopathic treatment for all chronic diseases. For example, you go to an allopathic doctor for hypothyroidism. The thyroid is not producing enough thyroid hormone. They give you a allopathic tablet like Eltroxin or Thyronorm. And what is this Eltroxin or Thyronorm? It is the thyroid hormone given artificially to you. So when you have to take it every day to make sure that your body functions well. But is it able to cure the under-functioning thyroid? No. You have to be on the medicine for the whole life. Same thing if you have, say, migraine headaches. Now, when you get a migraine headache, you are given certain medicines and the headache reduces in intensity. But are those medicines able to stop the recurrence of the headache? Are they able to understand the root cause of why this person started developing this kind of headache at a particular point in life? And that is the crucial question, which differentiates homeopathy from allopathy. Homeopathy tries to bring the body back into its normal healthy balance. We do not try to suppress symptoms. So if you have pain, you take painkiller. No, we say don't take painkiller, address the root cause of the pain. When you have hypothyroidism, we don't give you a thyroid supplement. Rather, what we do is we give medicines which can restore the functioning of the thyroid gland so that you don't need medicine for whole your life. Similarly, for asthma, we do not give medicines which will immediately open up your airways and block the allergic pathway. We will try to reduce your hypersensitivity, whatever hypersensitivity is bringing up that reaction, so that the next time when you come in contact with the same allergen, you do not respond to it the same way. So homeopathy is a system of medicine that works with the body, not against the body. We try to restore the health by bringing the body back into its balance. And we homeopaths believe that our body has a lot of innate intelligence. I'll give you some examples, some more examples. Today, we say that if you have any sore throat, any disease, you take antibiotics or whatever. But go back 50 years, there was no allopathic medicine. There were hardly any antibiotics. There was no limited availability of aspirin. So क्या आपके पेरेंट्स को कभी खांसी जुकाम बुखार निमोनिया नहीं हुआ? क्या आपके दादा दादी को नहीं हुआ होगा? क्या उनके दादा दादी को नहीं हुआ होगा? फैमिलीज में होता था और वो ठीक भी होता था. वो ठीक कैसे होता था? हमारी बॉडी का जो innate intelligence है, हमारा जो immune system है, that is able and that is capable of dealing with all those infections and stresses. So in millions of years of evolution, our body has developed a lot of intelligence how to protect itself from diseases. And in case if the disease comes, how to deal with it. So homeopathy primarily tries to use this immune mechanism, this body's innate ability to heal itself, to ensure that whatever the disease is taken care of naturally and effectively and permanently. So this is the primary way that homeopathy functions, the primary philosophy with which homeopathy functions. Allow the body to heal itself, help the body to heal itself, rather than trying to suppress the symptoms artificially and making sure that the patient is on drugs lifelong. We don't want that. If my patient is on medication for a very long period, I consider it as my failure and not as my success. Because if I am able to heal a person, then healing means restoration of health. If the health is restored, then why does the patient need medicine? If the person is healthy again, why does he need medicine? And that is what we try to do in homeopathy. That is what the organ and the subject of homeopathic philosophy that I teach. The first aphorism states the same thing. The high and only mission of the physician is to restore the sick to health, to cure as it is termed. So that is where homeopathy begins. We begin by saying that my only aim, my first and only aim is to restore the health and not suppress symptoms, not just palliate. As a physician, as a doctor, all I want is I want my patients to be healthy. I just don't want to bring symptomatic relief. And that is where homeopathy is primarily and philosophically very, very different from allopathic science. Now, there are other things that we need to understand. Homeopathy as a science is often misunderstood. A lot of patients who come to us, they often say कि सर हमने पहले भी होम्योपैथी खाई है, हमारे को कोई फायदा नहीं हुआ, या I have taken homeopathy from this or that doctor and it has not worked for me. For that, you need to understand that homeopathy is based on certain principles. And what are those principles? The first principle is that the medicine should be based on symptom similarity. Like the patient has a certain set of symptoms, say A, B, C, D. Whatever medicine I choose, there are 4,000 medicines in homeopathy. Now, whatever medicine I choose from these 4,000 medicines, the medicine that is going to work best for the patient is which cover the same set of symptoms A, B, C, D in nearly the same intensity. So when these two sets match, it results in cure or significant relief. Now, so one thing is, the first thing is that the remedy has to be selected on the basis of symptoms, the similarity of symptoms. Second thing is, the remedy has to be individualized. Now, what do I mean by being an individualized remedy. I'll again come back to your asthma example. Now, what happens in asthma is that suppose there are 5 patients of asthma. One patient gets asthma in winters. Another patient is getting asthma in summers. Another patient is getting asthma in change of weather during February, March. Another one gets asthma in towards Diwali in October, November, December, October, around September, October. Now, in conventional medicine and allopathic medicine, all these 4 people are going to get the same medicine, same anti-allergic medicine, same steroid, same bronchodilator. In homeopathy, for us, these 4 patients need 4 different medicines. They have 4 different set of symptoms. The patient who is aggravating in change of weather in Feb, March, if he or she is not aggravating in winters, then that's a characteristic symptom for us. If somebody is aggravating getting asthma only in winters, then we have got separate drugs for them, separate set of medicines for such patients, from which we choose which is the right remedy for a particular patient. Similarly, asthma, again, I will say I've got a couple of patients. One patient is getting asthma when they are exposed to animal dander, dog hair. Another patient is getting asthma by pollens. Third patient is getting by dust and dust mites. Fourth is getting by printing ink. Fifth is getting by paint or smell of paint. Now, again, in allopathic medicine, all 5 get the same medicine, irrespective of the cause. In homeopathy, for me, that cause is individualizing. That cause needs to be taken into consideration. So for me, I'll need 5 different remedies for these 5 different patients. Fortunately, homeopathy has all these drugs. So we individualize the patient based on what is causing the asthma, when the asthma is happening, what time of the day the patient is worse or better, how the patient is reacting when the patient is getting asthma. Even that is taken into consideration. But we'll come to it later when we discuss the psychosomatic aspect of it. So the second rule is that we have to individualize each patient. We do not have blanket therapy for any disease. I do not have a single drug which I can give to all thyroid patients or all migraine patients. No. If I've got 5 different migraine patients, I need to differentiate. किस साइड हो रहा है, लेफ्ट साइड हो रहा है, राइट साइड हो रहा है, पीछे की तरफ हो रहा है, ऊपर हो रहा है, कब होता है हेडेक आपको, कैसे होता है, जब हेडेक होता है तो पेन कैसा होता है आपको, इज इट थ्रॉबिंग पेन, इज इट स्टिचिंग पेन, इज इट बर्स्टिंग पेन, हाउ डज द पेन इंक्रीज, वॉक करने से बढ़ता है, चलने से बढ़ता है, लेटने से बढ़ता है, टीवी देखने से बढ़ता है, आराम कैसे आता है, सर को दबाने से आराम आता है, सोने से आराम आता है, खुली हवा में जाने से आराम आता है, कुछ खाने पीने से आराम आता है. Again, these are very, very small symptoms. And if you actually look at yourself, you will realize that every person is different. Although we have a gross anatomical and physiological similarity, but when it comes to individualizing preferences, we are all different. No 2 people are alike, and no 2 people react to the same way, to the same external influence. So we need to understand this, and that this individualization is the soul of homeopathy. Every patient needs to be individualized to ensure that the remedy is as similar as possible. Now, once we have these 2 aspects, symptom similarity and individualization, the third aspect is medicines. In homeopathy, we say give the least amount of medicine. आप एलोपैथिक डॉक्टर्स का पर्चा उठा के देखो, कभी एक ही बीमारी के लिए 8-8 दवाइयां, 10-10 दवाइयां, और अगर खुदा ना खास्ता आपको कोई ऐसी बीमारी, आपको 2-3 तकलीफ हो जाए, which is very common these days. If you have asthma, if you have acidity, if you have hypertension, if you have diabetes, even thyroid dysfunction, which is very common to occur as a group in many patients these days. So I have seen patients taking 20, 25 drugs at pills in a day. For every different set of symptom, you are given a different set of different medicine. In homeopathy, we don't do this. In homeopathy, we say give the least amount of medicine. कम से कम दवा ज्यादा कौन सी अच्छी है जो कम से कम खानी पड़े. That medicine is the best medicine which is needed in the least quantity. And that is the effort of homeopathy, to give the least possible medicine. So when a patient comes to me, even for say 5 different diseases, first, if he might be suffering from asthma and back pain and acidity, I will not give 5 different medicines. Le asthma ke liye ye do dawai le lo, back pain ke liye ye dawai le lo do, acidity ke liye ye do dawai le lo. No, I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is we take the patient as a whole. We consider, we do not treat the disease in isolation. We treat the sick person. And we try to identify why this particular person as a whole has become sick. So when we treat the sick person as a whole, we try to understand the sickness as a whole. For me, that headache or that migraine or that asthma or that acidity or that back pain, if they are affecting the same person, they are one illness. I'm not saying they are one disease. Technically, they might be different diseases. But this, for me, this is one sick patient which needs to be helped in restoring his health. And often the starting point of all these illnesses is common. Something has deranged that health of that person, which has sequentially led to the development of one illness, then second illness, and third illness, then fourth illness. So if I need to treat this person as a whole, I need to look at this whole picture as one unit and try to see why these deficits have come in this person, and how do I ensure that these deficits go away as a whole, as one unit. So the third aspect is that we give the least possible medicine, usually one medicine at a time. And that medicine is also given and in the least possible quantity. The dose has to be in minimum. So that is also one of our primary rules that we adhere to in homeopathy. Now, somebody who is following these basic 4-5 principles of homeopathy, the law of similia, the law of individualization, single drug, minimum dose, a homeopath who follows this rule is called classical homeopath, because these are rules of classical homeopathy. Now, what is classical homeopathy? As I said, somebody who is following these rules is called classical homeopath. So if there is a bunch of homeopaths who are called classical homeopaths, then there are others who are obviously non-classical homeopaths. So what is this non-classical homeopathy? Because classical homeopathy is a lot of time taking. It takes a lot of effort. A lot of hard work is needed. So then what happened? Then there were a lot of doctors who started practicing. कि अच्छा आपके पास सर दर्द है तो सर दर्द की ये दवाई ले लो, गले में दर्द है तो उसकी ये दवाई सॉरी पेट में आपको तकलीफ है तो ये दवाई ले लो, कब्ज है तो ये दवाई ले लो. So then a bunch of homeopaths came into existence, which were primarily from allopathic stream of science 200 years ago, who started giving number of medicines separately. And so if the patient is giving 5 set of symptoms, they will get 5-7 different set of medicines for those different set of symptoms. This is called polypharmacy, again a type of homeopathy. जहां पर आपको होम्योपैथ एक दवाई नहीं देगा, 5, 6, 7 कुछ भी दवाई दे सकता है. उसके बाद फार्मास्यूटिकल कंपनीज आई. फार्मास्यूटिकल कंपनीज ने क्या किया कि अच्छा आपके पास माइग्रेन के लिए 50 दवाइयां हैं, इनमें से ये 8 बहुत कॉमनली काम में आती हैं. लेट्स मिक्स ऑल दीज 8 इन वन बॉटल इन लार्ज क्वांटिटी, ताकि ये पैलिएट तो करेगी ही करेगी, और इनको हम एज अ कॉम्प्लेक्स मेडिसिन मार्केट में बेचना शुरू करते हैं. And this is how complex homeopathy came into existence. So in complex homeopathy, you have one bottle in which there are 8, 10 or even more medicines. So we have got 3 types of homeopathy: classical homeopathy, complex homeopathy, and polypharmacy. Classical homeopathy is the only approach which follows the original principles of homeopathy. Unfortunately, and I'm very, with a heavy heart, I'm saying that today classical homeopaths are very few. Most of the homeopaths, up to 90% in India, they practice polypharmacy or complex homeopathy. So when patients come to me and say, okay, we have tried homeopathy, but we have not had good results, then often I ask you, what kind of homeopathy have you tried? And most commonly, it's complex homeopathy that they have tried. They have taken number of complexes and potions and mixtures of medicines which do not stick to the principles. So again, when you are looking for a homeopath, make sure that you go to a good classical homeopath. A classical homeopath will give you a lot of time. They'll hear your complaints with a lot of effort. They will try to understand the root cause of the problems that you have. Depending upon the nature of your illness, they will ask for all your medical history from birth till your current complaints develop. In small children's cases, they will even ask the pregnancy history of the mother. In chronic cases, they will also ask about the family history. And they will also discuss about your mental and emotional health. So after all this effort, this interview, which can last from anywhere between 30 minutes to 2 hours, a homeopath, a classical homeopath, is able to identify the remedy that can help you most at that point of time. Classical homeopathy doesn't mean that you need only that one remedy all your life, no, or throughout the treatment. As symptoms change, the remedy might change, but at that particular point of time, that one remedy needs to be identified and given for the best effect for the patient. So this is how classical homeopathy works, and it is the most rewarding approach. As far as I'm concerned, as a homeopath, as a physician, and for my patients also. The miracles that Dr. Amit Niyogi was just saying, homeopathy is able to produce miracles, but it is able to produce miracles only when you adhere to the basic principles, the fundamental principles. Without adhering to those fundamental principles, there is no magic. We can palliate. With polypharmacy, with complex homeopathy, we can still palliate. But we cannot produce those dramatic curative results for which homeopathy is well known. So, after this, I would like to, again, as Dr. Niyogi said, that there are a lot of misconceptions about this science. So, I would like to address those misconceptions also. One of the basic misconception about homeopathy is कि it's slow, धीरे काम करती है, time बहुत लगता है. Now, we need to understand that time is a relative phenomenon. Time is not something certain. It's not something hard and long. It's relative. When you are waiting for someone whom you love, then even 5 minutes duration can feel like an hour. And if you are in a boring physics class which you do not like, that 1 hour can feel like 3 hours. Time is a relative term. How you experience the time is how it matters. So if a patient who comes to me for, say, joint pains, arthritis, and or gout, now the allopath gives you a medicine and you feel immediate relief in pain, so you feel that it works quickly. I say, okay, I'll need 6 months or 12 months to treat you. The patient feels, okay, no time lagega. They don't realize that when I'm treating that gout or when I'm treating that thyroid, I'm not saying I'll give you symptomatic relief. When you are taking that thyroid medicine, allopathic medicine, it might bring very quick relief, but you have to be on treatment whole your life. And here I am saying, okay, I might not produce that same level of dramatic result in the first day or first 2 days or first 3 days, but I'll reach there and I'll ensure that you do not need medicines after a certain point of time. So once I'm able to achieve that, if I'm able to treat thyroid, say in 10 months, and the allopath is not even able to treat thyroid in the whole life and is putting the patient on medicine for the next 20-30 years, treatment kiska chota hua? Mera chota hua na, uska to nahi hua. Same thing with migraine, same thing with asthma, same thing with acidity, peptic ulcers. You name any disease, any chronic disease, any inveterate disease. If I'm able to cure the patient in a duration of time, even if it's 6 months or 12 months or 18 months or 2 years, and the conventional medicine is putting the patient on medicine for the rest of his life, then how come my medicine is slow? My medicine is much, much faster. The only difference is that because we are not trying to palliate, we are trying to heal the patient, we are trying to use the body's own immune system to heal, it takes a while. कोई भी जितनी टूटी हुई चीज होती है उसको ठीक करने में उतना टाइम लगता है. It's a very simple thing. Chronic disease का मतलब ये होता है कि the patient has developed this disease over years. कोई भी chronic disease overnight नहीं डेवलप होती, उस बॉडी को डेवलप होने में, ब्रेकडाउन होने में कई साल लगते हैं. ऐसा नहीं होता कि जिस दिन आपको ग्लूकोमीटर में आपने ब्लड शुगर बढ़ा हुआ आ गया उस दिन आप डायबिटिक हो गए, या जिस दिन आपका बीपी आपने नापा बढ़ा हुआ आ गया उस दिन आपको हाइपोटेंशन हो गई, या जिस दिन आपको डॉक्टर ने कहा थायराइड का टेस्ट कराओ और थायराइड का टेस्ट में बढ़ा हुआ आ गया उस दिन आपको थायराइड हो गया. नहीं, बॉडी को ब्रेकडाउन होने में, सिम्टम्स डेवलप होने में सालों लग जाते हैं. यूजुअली छोटा छोटा कुछ हो रहा होता है, हमको पता भी नहीं चलता, बॉडी बहुत समय तक तो कॉम्पनसेट करती रहती है. एंड एट सम पॉइंट दैट कॉम्पनसेशन डजंट वर्क and you start feeling symptoms, you start getting symptoms, and then you go to the doctor. But the process of disease starts way back. The process of diabetes starts 10-15 years before the actual blood sugar reports come positive. So when we are trying to treat a disease which has had this extended history, we cannot treat it overnight. Nobody can. Especially if you are trying to cure it, if you are trying to make that person healthy again. It takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of time, and that is why it takes a while for the medicines to show deep effect, but overall the treatment is much shorter. Another misconception about homeopathy is that it often aggravates the disease first. कि बीमारी को पहले बाहर निकालती है, ये भी बहुत सुनने में आता है, and I'm not sure from where this has come, but this is again not true. कोई भी होम्योपैथिक मेडिसिन अगर सही तरीके से चूज की गई है, राइटली चूज की गई है, सही डोज में दी जा रही है, it will never aggravate the patient. Never. ऐसा नहीं हो सकता कि if you have come to me for say leukoderma for white patches, I'm not going to increase your one patch into 2 and 4 patches before I can treat it. अगर आप मेरे पास हेडेक के लिए आ रहे हो तो आपको हफ्ते में अगर मान लो 3 दिन हेडेक हो रहा होगा तो मैं ये थोड़ी करूंगा कि पहले 5 दिन हेडेक होगा फिर ठीक होएगा. Doesn't work this way. Ultimately, we are trying to heal. Sometimes it does happen that there can be a very brief aggravation of symptoms. For example, if I'm treating dermatitis, the patient might have more itching for a couple of hours or even for a day, but the disease won't increase as such. It's only some sensation might increase for a very short time. But overall, this is a misconception कि disease पहले बढ़ती है, the disease first aggravates, बीमारी बाहर निकलती है. No, it doesn't happen that way. There are certain principles that we follow, but usually you do not see aggravations. And again, then our remedies usually do not have side effects also, like conventional medicines. But again, this is a myth that homeopathic remedies do not have any side effects. Any medicine which has the ability to act has the potential to act wrong also. But when does it act wrong? Classical homeopathy, no side effects, because the remedy is chosen very carefully, is given one medicine at a time, and in very small quantities. So classical homeopathy, usually there are no side effects. But when you are using polypharmacy or when you are using complex homeopathy, you are taking 10 medicines, 2 or 3 might be of help to you, but 5 medicines will be of no use. And those 5 medicines are going to do something in your body. So usually homeopathic medicines don't have side effects if chosen correctly. But indiscriminate use of any medicine is wrong. मैं बहुत सारे पेशेंट्स को कई बार देखता हूँ, उनके फैमिली मेंबर्स को देखता हूँ कि होम्योपैथी का तो साइड इफेक्ट होता नहीं है, तो जो मर्जी उठा के दिन के रोज 2 4 5 5 दवाइयां खाते रहते हैं, 1M 10M पोटेंसी की दवाई अपनी मर्जी से खाते रहते हैं कि कोई साइड इफेक्ट नहीं होता. It doesn't work this way. The medicine is going to have some proving symptoms. So whenever you need homeopathic medicines, especially for chronic disease treatment, please consult a homeopath. Don't self-medicate. It has become a fashion today कि गूगल पे सर्च किया कि ओके बेस्ट मेडिसिन फॉर बैक पेन एंड 10 दवाइयां आ गई, उनके डिस्क्रिप्शन आ गए, उनमें से पढ़ के खुद ही छांट ली और खुद ही खा ली. इतना इजी नहीं होता है. Had it been so easy, I would not have been studying for 10 years, 10, 15 years. There would have been no need for professional doctors who study for 6 years doing graduation and then again 3 years doing MD. So 10 साल की पढ़ाई की क्या जरूरत है अगर आप 10 मिनट में ऑनलाइन इंटरनेट पे पढ़ के अपनी दवाई खुद निकाल सकते हैं. So consult a homeopath whenever you need help with homeopathy. Then another aspect with homeopathy is that it's a holistic system. Holistic system means that we do not just look at the disease in isolation. We look at the overall health and the factors which we can improve. So a good homeopath will look into your diet also, will look into your life space also. So if the diet is not healthy, the diet needs to be correct. If your lifestyle is not healthy, the lifestyle needs to be corrected. And that guidance also comes from a good homeopath. बहुत सारी बीमारियां हैं जो कि लाइफस्टाइल डिजीजेस हैं आज की तारीख में. हमारे पास बच्चे आते हैं जिनको हेडेक की बहुत सारी कंप्लेंट होती है. अगर बच्चों को हेडेक की कंप्लेंट हो रही होती है तो यूजुअली माय फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन दीस डेज इज कि स्क्रीन टाइम कितना है. एंड ऑफन ये सुनने आता है कि ये तो सारा टाइम मोबाइल पे लगा रहता है. अब obviously if you have excessive screen time, the child can have headaches, the eyesight can be poor. So unless until we reduce the screen time, the headache might not go even with whatever symptom similar medicine I choose based on symptom similarity. So any maintaining cause has to be removed. Any factor that can aggravate the disease needs to be removed. So this is also one of the aspects that homeopathy holistically sees the patient. If there are issues with the diet, they need to be corrected. If there are issues with the lifestyle, they need to be corrected. And we look at the patient as a whole and treat the patient as a whole, not just in parts and pieces. लंग्स नहीं खराब हो गए किसी के, पेट नहीं खराब हो गया, हम ये नहीं कहते. हम कहते हैं ये पेशेंट है जो कि बीमार है और इसकी तकलीफ कहाँ यहाँ है, लंग्स में है या पेट में. पर हमको उसके सिर्फ लंग्स को नहीं ठीक करना, कोई डॉक्टर सिर्फ लंग्स को नहीं ठीक कर सकता. वी हैव टू मेक द पेशेंट हेल्दी. And in that effort to make a patient healthy, there is role of medicine, there is role of diet, there is role of lifestyle, and everything needs to be taken into consideration when we are treating the patient holistically. Another misconception about homeopathy is that homeopathy is unscientific. इसके लिए I'll say कि एक कहावत है हिंदी में कि झूठ के पैर नहीं होते. What does it mean is कि झूठ ज्यादा दूर चल नहीं पाता. Now here is a system of medicine which is in existence since more than 200 years. And do you know कि in Europe in many countries, you need to be an allopathic doctor before you can actually specialize in homeopathy. Most of the doctors in Europe are allopathic doctors who are practicing homeopathy. In India also, the homeopathic doctors are given legal rights equal to allopathic doctors. Same in South Africa, same in Latin America. And there are millions and millions of homeopathic doctors and hundreds and thousands of allopathic doctors who prescribe or take homeopathic medicines. They are not fools. They are only swayed in favor of homeopathy because of the results they see. And it's not just that, there are branches in homeopathy. आप placebo effect की बात की जाती है कि homeopathic medicines are nothing but placebo. I can understand there could be a placebo effect when we are treating adults, but when we are treating infants, 2 महीने के बच्चे को क्या पता उसको क्या दिया जा रहा है? Why would he produce a placebo effect? 1 महीने के बच्चे को क्या पता उसको क्या दिया जा रहा है? Why would he produce a placebo effect? So if I'm treating children who are as young as 7 days or 10 days or 15 days or 1 month or 2 months, if they are getting results, that cannot be because of placebo effect. They are veterinary homeopaths. Veterinary homeopaths, they are veterinary doctors in Europe who are using exclusively homeopathy to treat animals. Even in India, I myself treat my pet dog only with homeopathy. And he responds beautifully every time he falls sick. How does an animal produce placebo effect? Do they know? My dog doesn't even know that I put some drops in his bowl of water. And yet he responds. Leave aside animals. Today, agro-homeopathy is such a growing branch of homeopathy. Plants cannot produce placebo effect. Yet plants are being given homeopathic medicines and very, very successfully. There are today large farms in India which are being managed by agro-homeopathy. Homeopathic medicines, highly potentized, highly diluted, being given to plants for all sorts of diseases. And they respond. So one thing is, this again is a myth that homeopathy has a placebo effect or homeopathy is a placebo medicine. It's a fairly scientific medicine, fairly well-researched medicine. And there's a lot of research going on into its exact mechanism. If you are interested in studying those research, there are 3 websites which you can go to. One is Homeopathy Research Institute, HRI. The website is hri-research.org. Homeopathic Research Institute is world's premier research institute for homeopathy. Then there is British National Library, British National Homeopathic Library. Again, they have got a section on homeopathic research, which the database is called home-inform.org, home-inform.org. And then there is my own portal called hperi.com. It has got a huge research section, so you can visit hperi.com and see the research section there also. Multitude of studies on plants, on animals, in vitro, in vivo. You cannot tell the cells about placebo. The cells are in petri dishes, in test tubes, and they are reacting to different homeopathic medicines. So it's very promising, very promising field of research. And as a physician, as clinicians, we are very happy to see the results that we are able to produce. The scientists are very excited with the possibility that highly dynamized medicines are able to, high dilutions are able to produce. It's kind of extending our belief system into what physics is, what chemistry is, what hydrogen bonds can do in water, how liquids can have their own memories, and how extreme dilutions work. And there's a lot of research related to nuclear magnetic resonance, spectroscopy, Raman spectroscopy, and so many other in vitro and in vivo tests have been done to prove how homeopathy works. And it's heartening to see that research. We might not have all the answers yet, but we are very close to it. And at the end of the day, what matters to me is, do my medicines produce the results that they are meant to produce in a sick person? Yes, they do. And that is the only reason I adhere to homeopathy. So that is again, research is again a major aspects that homeopaths are focusing on, both clinical research. Today we even have PhDs in homeopathy. A lot of research, clinical research, non-clinical research work is going on. And we need to understand that there might be some unanswered questions related to homeopathy. But simply because a particular mechanism has not yet been clearly understood, it doesn't mean that the fact is wrong. Gravity was there even before Newton. Energy and mass were convertible even before Einstein. So simply because there is no formula yet which we can use, or similarly there is no understandable, reproducible concept right now in the modern scientific terminology, it doesn't mean that the fact is wrong. The fact is there. The apple used to fall for thousands of years, not only when the Newton described the law of gravity. So the homeopathic medicines are able to cure. We are able to see that day in and day out amongst our patients. It's if the mechanism part is still not clearly understood, it doesn't defy the law. It doesn't defy the action of the medicine. Clinically, the medicines are working. Do you know the medicines like even penicillin and aspirin, when they were discovered, for the next 50 years, nobody knew how they worked. So simply because people did not know exactly the exact cellular mechanism of how aspirin worked or how penicillin worked, did it prevent penicillin or aspirin from working? No. The mechanism did came into existence 50 years, 70 years later. We were able to understand as science progressed. Same thing is with homeopathy. We are able to do a lot of good clinical work. Some of the questions regarding its research are still pending, but I'm pretty sure and pretty confident that there will be a time soon where we'll have all the answers. So that is one another aspect of homeopathy. Now, the most important aspect of homeopathy for me is its understanding of its psychosomatic approach. Now, what is psychosomatic approach? Psych means brain and soma means body. So psychosomatic means where you are using, where the approach deals with the mind and the body at the same time. Now in homeopathy, we consider most of the diseases to be psychosomatic. What do you mean by psychosomatic? Just a moment. Let me give you an example. Why in homeopathy we consider most diseases as psychosomatic. In allopathy or in conventional medicine, the psychosomatic diseases are only those which start with due to mental causes and then affect the body. For example, anorexia nervosa or bulimia. They are eating disorders. एनोरेक्सिया में भूख नहीं लगती, बुलिमिया में भूख बहुत ज्यादा लगती है, बहुत कांस्टेंट खाने का मन करता है. सो अब एनोरेक्सिया नर्वोसा है या बुलिमिया है, they are known to begin because of psychological issues. So allopaths will call these diseases as psychosomatic. In homeopathy, what we do is we feel that most of the diseases begin on the mental or emotional plane. I'll give you some examples. That it's not that you will have only separate mental diseases. We believe there is no mental disease which will not produce physical symptoms, and there is no physical disease which will not produce mental symptoms. If you even get a small cut, हाथ में छोटा सा कट लग जाए, फिजिकल प्रॉब्लम है, लेकिन उस फिजिकल प्रॉब्लम के साथ हाउ डू यू रिएक्ट टू इट? अगर आपको काम करने में दिक्कत हो रही है, यू विल बिकम इरिटेबल. And then there are different people who react to it differently. But before we come to the reaction part, it affects people differently. So even a small injury to your finger can produce a lot of anxiety, can produce a lot of fear. अरे मेरे को टेटनस तो नहीं हो जाएगा, अरे मेरे कुछ हो तो नहीं जाएगा, अरे मेरे खून बह रहा है, बहुत मेरे कोई सेकेंडरी इन्फेक्शन तो नहीं हो जाएगा. So a lot of problems, the mentally patient can have those symptoms even for a small cut. So the injury is on the physical plane, but the mind and the emotions are getting affected. Similarly, when the patient is sad, they don't feel hungry, or they can feel a lot of hunger, as in anorexia and bulimia. Again, there is something that is starting on the mental plane or emotional plane, but it has physical symptoms. Do you know people जिनको एग्जाम से पहले या मीटिंग से पहले डायरिया हो जाता है? नॉट वेरी कॉमन. इसको हम एंटिसिपेटरी डायरिया बोलते हैं, कि एग्जाम से जस्ट पहले, एक दिन पहले या उस दिन सुबह कई बार स्टूल पास करना पड़ता है. क्यों होता है? डायरिया इज अगेन अ फिजिकल प्रॉब्लम. एंजाइटी तो दिमाग में है ना, लेकिन उसका इफेक्ट कहां आ रहा है? बॉडी पे आ रहा है. सो कोई भी डिजीज, चाहे वो फिजिकल प्लेन पे हो, छोटी सी इंजरी हो, वो आपके ब्रेन को, आपके माइंड को, आपके इमोशंस को अफेक्ट करती है, या कोई भी इमोशन जो आपके ब्रेन में है वो आपकी बॉडी पे फिजिकल सिम्टम्स प्रोड्यूस करता है, छोटे से छोटा. एंड दैट इज व्हाई इन होम्योपैथी वी से दैट ऑल डिजीजेस आर साइकोसोमैटिक. देयर इज नो डिजीज व्हिच डज नॉट हैव अ मेंटल कंपोनेंट. And in chronic diseases especially, we say that most diseases begin on the mental plane, mental and emotional plane. There has been a lot of research, for example, related to cancer, not in homeopathy, the conventional research, that cancer often starts in patients who have had a lot of mental stress, mental shock. किसी तरह का घर में किसी क्लोज की डेथ हो गई या किसी चीज को लेकर बहुत ज्यादा this person of or is or arthritis, but that is in homeopathy. I believe treatment of illness action stress body into that pathology exists. Pathology is not to handle a mental stress, the range of the physiology to develop pathology. Is supported by that stress. This could be anything. When we talk, come across person will any stress, any different people in life. Some people can, some people stress will take a step. Some parents can similarly people can stress, have stress business or who is very so multi stresses. I people under having enough different stress, but no. I कि हम लोग हैं stress pathology. So yes, any stress, the physiological process in your once that occurs, body starts developing different. Me, pathology. What I try to what was the interest I have to the physical and the knowledge. I need to understand this person because this is homeopathy individualized. Patient has individually no people to the same. Very funny example. College going to there is a who get younger. One can be अपना reaction है a second same position behave as a he has great he's not can become उसको छोड़ो देखा दूसरे पर एसिड ब्रेन में और नहीं करा at this point because of the desire fourth can actually suicidal again the stress is same and there is another person who can say कोई बात नहीं तू नहीं और सही और नहीं और सही. So again the stress has been the same but look at the different reaction. Grief which is expressed, grief which is silent, revenge, suicide, and no effect. So this individual reaction needs to be understood in homeopathy. I cannot give the same remedy to these 5 different people. They are reacting to the same stimulus differently. And I need to not just understand the cause. Okay, this particular pathology, this person is suffering from this pathology, and 5 years, 10 years back, I see this as the cause. But for me, the pathology and cause are 2 aspects. What links them is the reaction of the patient. And that reaction needs to be understood. And that reaction needs to be taken into account when selecting the homeopathic remedy. And fortunately, homeopathy is the only system of medicine which has this kind of number of medicines and which are researched to this level where the medicine's effect is understood to this level कि okay ये हमारे पास दवाइयां हैं इनमें से ये दवाइयां इस particular cause को बहुत अच्छे से कवर करती हैं अब इनमें से कौन कौन सी दवाई इस तरह के रिएक्शन को बेटर कवर करती है. So as a homeopath I treat not just all physical pathologies, we treat all physical pathologies, चाहे वो बच्चों की बीमारियां हो, adenoids हो, tonsillitis हो, asthma हो, atopic dermatitis हो, adults की physical problems हो, again asthma हो, IBS हो, acidity हो, constipation हो, piles हो, headache हो, migraine हो, cervical spondylosis हो, back pain हो, आर्थराइटिस हो, थायराइड हो, डायबिटीज हो, हाइपरटेंशन हो, कार्डियक प्रॉब्लम्स हो, सब कुछ ट्रीट करते हैं हम होम्योपैथी में। फीमेल्स की प्रॉब्लम्स, गायनोकोलॉजिकल प्रॉब्लम्स, पीसीओडी, मेनोरेजिया, माइट्रोरेजिया, यूट्राइन फाइब्रॉइड्स, ओवेरियन सिस्ट, ब्रेस्ट फाइब्रॉइड्स, कोई इनफर्टिलिटी, कोई ऐसी प्रॉब्लम नहीं है जिसे हम नहीं ट्रीट करते। वहीं पर हम जब मेंटल प्लेन की बात करते हैं तो मेंटल प्लेन पे भी हमारे पास बहुत कॉमन होता है कि हम ऑटिज्म, अगेन ऑटिज्म इज अ डेवलपमेंटल इशू, बट आई ट्रीट लॉट ऑफ ऑटिस्टिक चिल्ड्रन आल्सो, एडीएचडी के बच्चे, डिसलेक्सिया वाले बच्चे, देन एंजाइटी डिसऑर्डर्स वेरी कॉमन, डिप्रेशन वेरी कॉमन, obsessive compulsive disorder, schizophrenia, degenerative diseases like motor neuron disease, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, itni koi, even inveterate cases, cancer, we treat everything with homeopathy, provided we get to the core of the patient. If we are able to understand the core of the patient, it takes a lot of effort. अगर आज किसी पेशेंट को कैंसर डेवलप हुआ है एट एज ऑफ 60 इयर्स, तो मेरे को उसकी पूरी 60 साल की मेडिकल हिस्ट्री चार्ट करनी पड़ेगी टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाई एंड व्हाट पॉइंट दिस पेशेंट हैज हेल्थ डिरेंज्ड एंड what stresses that patient has gone through and how that patient has responded to different stresses, what suppressive allopathic medicines that patient has taken at what point of time. एक तरह से पूरा बही खाता बनता है पेशेंट का, पूरा उसका मेडिकल पत्री बनती है टू अंडरस्टैंड the whole origin of the problem and how the patient has evolved over those years, 10, 20, 30 years, to actually have reached to this stage where the patient is sitting in front of me. So this is how the whole range of problems that we treat with homeopathy. And today, I believe that most of the patients who come to us, they come to us with a lot of psychiatric problems. एंजाइटी बहुत कॉमन है, डिप्रेशन बहुत कॉमन है, ऑब्सेसिव कंपल्सिव डिसऑर्डर बहुत कॉमन है, इवन स्किज़ोफ्रेनिया वेरी वेरी कॉमन दीस डेज। सो जब हम ये पेशेंट्स को ट्रीट करते हैं तो इट्स कोशिश ये नहीं होती कि पेशेंट को हम कोई नींद नहीं आ रही तो नींद की दवाई दे दें, एंजाइटी है तो एंजाइटी को कम करने की दवाई दे दें, नहीं। Anxiety is an abnormal reaction that the body is producing to a particular stress. एग्जाम का स्ट्रेस तो सबके लिए बराबर है ना, लेकिन किसी किसी को एग्जाम से पहले इतनी एंटिसिपेटरी एंजाइटी होती है कि उसको डायरिया हो जाता है। तो अब एंजाइटी कम करने की दवाई नहीं देंगे, हम दवाई ऐसी देंगे जिससे उसका ये एबनॉर्मल रिएक्शन जो है ये खत्म। एंड दैट इज हाउ वी ट्रीट एट द साइकोसोमैटिक लेवल। Every disease, every patient, we try to understand as a whole, consider the mental and emotional aspect of the patient, and then we try to understand at what point the patient's health got deranged and how to then select the remedy which covers all the symptoms of the patient so that the patient can be cured holistically. So this is the primary thing that I wanted to speak about homeopathy today. Now, one of the areas that I often work is autism. So I'd like to speak about that also. Autism is a developmental disorder, and today it has become an epidemic. When I started treating autistic children way back in 2006, the prevalence rate in India was around one patient among 10,000 children. It was so uncommon that even pediatricians were not aware of it often. And today it has become so epidemic that the current rate is 1 in 100 in India and 1 in 40 in US. So nearly every 60th, 70th children today in this world is being born autistic. And It's again a neurodevelopmental disorder in which the child has delayed milestones, delayed speech development. The child remains lost in his own world, does not respond to any social cues, does not have a proper eye contact, does not has poor name response, and a lot of other sensory issues, developmental issues. And it's a disease for which there is no treatment in conventional medicine, no treatment in allopathic medicine. And I have been treating autistic children since 2006, and I've seen thousands and thousands of children, and they respond so beautifully to homeopathy. So much is being done for these children with these medicines, how they respond, how their growth changes, how their eye contact comes back, how their speech starts developing. It's very heartening and amazing to see these children respond in such a beautiful manner. And so I believe that homeopathy has not just role in chronic cases; it has a lot of role in cases in where the problems are congenital, where the patients are born that way, and still we are able to help them. So for me, homeopathy as a science gives me scope where I can work with the fetus, where I can work with the newborn child, where I can work with the developmental issues of a toddler, and whereby I can address the teenage issues of the teenage, where I can address all the health complaints of adults, where I can address the issues in geriatric health, old age. So it gives me the kind of spectrum that no other system of medicine can provide. And that is something that I really enjoy as a homeopath. I find it challenging, but at the same time, the most satisfactory thing that I can do. And I would like to tell you about myself also that I'm primarily, I did my graduations in computer applications. Yes, I'm a software professional before I became a homeopath, and it was only because of the love of homeopathy, because of the results that I saw, that I ended up being a homeopath. And today I'm an MD. Me and my wife, we run Rajasthan's largest homeopathic clinic. It's called Asha Homeopathy Medical Center. It's at Hawa Sadak, Civil Lines. But what is, and it has been nearly 20 years that I've been practicing. And what is heartening to see is that there has been a lot of change in the mindset of people in these 20, 25 years that I've been into homeopathy. A much greater acceptance has come. A lot of faith has come. People actually, I've got dozens of people, allopathic doctors in my family, dozens of allopathic doctors who are my personal friends, and they all take homeopathy. And it is so heartening to see this change. Like nobody doubts clinically, at least not in my clinic. I don't see that very often, that people doubt about homeopathy or its efficacy. People have so much trust that the pediatrician takes homeopathy for his own children. The gynecologist would send their patients to us if they are not able to treat. The ophthalmologist would take homeopathy for his eye problems. The gastroenterologist would call me for medicines if they have got an upset stomach. So that is the kind of faith that we enjoy today. And it's just increasing day by day, day in and day out. And for me, it's something very, very rewarding as a homeopath, because I'm not able to just remove the symptoms. I'm able to understand the cause of why a particular person becomes sick. And then I'm able to bring about transformative changes in their health. The magic, the cure that only homeopathy can give. And for me, that is all the success about homeopathy is about. That we are able to treat the patient as a whole, to treat at this particular level. Soon people are all going to hear my dear friend Dr. Rajan Sankran. Again, he's one of the most brilliant minds in homeopathy. And you're going to be amazed by the cases they'll share with you, with what kind of results we homeopaths are able to produce. My talk was more about the basics of homeopathy, so I did not touch upon individual cases, but I'm sure Dr. Sampan is going to share some. But what is important is that there is a huge spectrum of diseases that homeopathy is able to treat. Legally, homeopathy is today at par with conventional medicine. Education is also at par. We do 5.5 years of medical studies, undergraduate studies with 1 year internship, and then we do MD. Homeopathic doctors are taught all the subjects that an MBBS doctor is taught. Along with those subjects which are taught in MBBS, we are taught homeopathy in addition to it. And that is why a good homeopath is far more well trained than any conventional doctor. Because we also have a holistic mindset. We are able to connect the dots which allopathic doctors are not able to. So that is, and today homeopathy is also being practiced in hospital setups. There are different hospitals which are being run exclusively on homeopathy. There are 3 national institutes of homeopathy, just like All India Institute of Medical Science, AIIMS, the premier institute of homeopathy. There are 3 national institutes of homeopathy. One is in Calcutta, which is the oldest one. Another one is coming up in Delhi this year, and another one is in Kerala. So there are 3 national institutes of homeopathy. There are more than 200 medical colleges, nearly 230 medical colleges. Out of these 230 medical colleges, which are full-time, regular studies, around 50 are giving MDs. They are postgraduate colleges. And out of these 230 colleges, odd colleges, there are around 40 are government colleges. And every year, India is producing around 10,000 new homeopathic doctors. So the kind of acceptance that homeopathy and the kind of growth homeopathy has seen in this country is amazing. It's heartening. And the growth is only that homeopaths are able to give. So this is, and I'm sure that homeopathy has a long way to go. There is going to be more synergy with conventional medicine. There's going to be more synergistic growth where we are able to work in hospitals, in conventional hospitals also, in ICUs and emergencies. And that part is still missing in homeopathy, but I'm sure we'll get there. And so this is it primarily. Dr. Amit, are there any questions from your audience?
First of all, I must say, Dr. Bhatia, that you have, within an hour or so, you briefed everything in such a wonderful manner that I want to learn homeopathy from you. I was thinking that if I can be your student. So well, you have put forward everything one by one, very slowly and a very lucid manner. It is a very good talk that you have given. And I think, when we will upload this video in the YouTube, because many of our colleagues and friends, they are busy with their normal activities, so they can see the video later on. Not only they, but many other people, those who are new to homeopathy, they do not have any idea about homeopathy, they can know briefly about what homeopathy is all about. Because there are so much misconceptions, and also in the net, the moment you give a search word homeopathy, all kinds of things are written there. And it is a boon actually to the society to have some good homeopaths. Yes, one serious question, the first very serious question is how to connect or how to get such classical homeopaths that you have defined. Because normal people, general common people like us, it is very difficult for us to, get to know that who is a good homeopathic doctor.
All right. So it's not very easy, I would say, but there are many ways where you can figure out. One thing is you can always see the website of the doctor. Usually, if he's a classical homeopath, he'll mention it because we are in such a small breed that we tend to market ourselves with that keyword. And so if the homeopath is a classical homeopath, he'll usually mention it on his personal website. Second thing which I feel is a more direct and more better way is to actually talk to the doctor. So what kind of homeopathy do you practice?
Okay.
There's no harm in that. If you feel that there is a certain doctor in your locality, in your community, whom you want to visit, and so there's no harm in actually calling the reception or talking to the doctor. Okay, sir, I'm looking for a classical homeopathy. Do you practice classical homeopathy? And usually, if the person is not classical homeopathy, he'll not say yes, because it's not easy.
Yes.
It's not easy. So, and the third thing is that if you are not able to find somebody locally, you can always look for somebody online. I have been treating patients online since, I believe, 2001. So it has been close to 20 years. I was among the first doctors in India to provide teleconsultation to international patients 20 years back. So, but I would say that at that point of time, it was a bit difficult because most of the communication used to happen through email or that old Yahoo chat or AOL chat. So old things. But sometimes we were not, I myself was not very satisfied with the kind of interaction that I was having patients, because ultimately, jab tak aap patient ko dekho nahi, maza nahi aata, personally one-to-one. But fortunately, what has happened that technology and internet and broadband has changed the world totally. Today, I am treating patients in probably 20, 25 countries. And it simply doesn't matter whether the patient is sitting in front of me or isn't sitting in a Zoom session with me, or in a Skype session with me, or is on a WhatsApp call with me. So what I do as a homeopath, me and my wife, we have developed a whole structure how to treat patients remotely.
Yes.
What we do is, when we talk to the patient, we first send them a clinical questionnaire which they need to fill. So, and once we have received that data, we analyze the data, and then we go for a video consultation with the patient. So it hardly matters whether the patient is in Bombay or Buffalo or New Jersey or Canada, any place. Hardly matters. It's more like just like I'm talking to you at this point of time.
Exactly.
We have one-to-one video consultation, so it becomes very easy, and I'm not alone. There are a lot of good homeopaths are doing video consultations today, and especially with COVID, a time when everything got into lockdown, most of the doctors have come online. So if you are not able to find a good classical homeopath locally, you can always look for somebody online.
This is exactly what I wanted to know.
Yes.
That how can we do consultation online? So it's good that you are doing it. How to contact you? Suppose say, like in our website, we would like to give all the details of all the doctors who are speaking in this platform. So, like
if somebody wants to consult me, you can go to our website, drbhatia.com, which is DOCTOR, full doctor, DOCTORBHATIA.com. There you can contact us through the contact form. It's the phone numbers are there, the email ID is there.
Okay, fine. That will be good.
So that is the way to reach to us.
Good, very nice. Other thing is, like, the case histories. I think you have given in the website. Like, if you can give the case histories in the website so that people can see those case histories, and they will be more convinced.
Look, yes, we do publish case histories, but we publish those case histories at hpathy.com.
Yes.
Which is a portal that we run. And there, if you are not convinced, you can actually look for not hundreds, you can look for thousands of case histories.
Yes,
all well documented cases, all checked by our editors, often with before and after reports, or the patient testimonials. So it's very heartening to see, because seeing my results alone is not sufficient. If homeopathy works, I can work as a Baba also.
Yes.
I can produce results at an individual level. Okay, mere haath mein shifa hogi. But if my science is good, then everybody should be able to produce results.
Sure.
And that is why it is important that you see not just my results, you see the results of Dr. Sankran and all the other doctors who are there at hpathy.com also. So it's good to see that there are 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 homeopathic doctors, good homeopathic doctors who are publishing their cases every month.
Good. Okay. One more question is like, suppose say somebody wants to study homeopathy, not from the medical schools, but by himself or herself, how to do that?
Okay. Now, I will be very, very clear about this. You cannot practice homeopathy in India without
Yes.
having a BHMS degree.
Yes, that is true.
That should be very, very clear. There was a time 20 years, 30 years ago when there was some possibility of doing a distance education course, a diploma course, but all that stopped in 1971.
Mm-hmm.
So after 1971, only one Central Council of Homeopathy came into existence. Central Council of Homeopathy is the premier regulatory government body for India, and which was produced by the law. So once CCH came into existence after 1971, only BHMS degree is valid. You can, and it's a full-time MBBS like course, full-time 5.5-year degree course. So if you want to practice homeopathy, you have to do BHMS as a full-time regular course. If you just want to learn it,
yes,
for your own self, then there are many ways to it. For example, we run I run a very introductory course myself online, which again you can see at drbhatia.com. It's a starting point where you can actually learn about what homeopathy is, what are the common medicines, how you can use those common medicines. Then there are more advanced courses which are available. I'll be coming up with some of my own. Dr. Sankran has many advanced courses. Dr. George Vithulkas has his International Academy of Classical Homeopathy, who is my teacher also. And he has his courses, which again can be accessed from hpathy.com. So again, that is a 2-year diploma course that you can do online. It is as good as any professional course. But unfortunately, in India, you cannot practice even with that.
Yes.
But for your own knowledge, yes, you can use those courses.
One can learn for the sake of learning.
Yes, and for the sake of learning, you can always go to hpathy.com. It's the world's largest medical portal on homeopathy, and it's ranked among the top medical websites in the world, not just homeopathy, general medicine also. And there you have tons of articles, tons of materia medica, remedies that you want. Again, the third website that I also run is homeopathybooks.in, which probably you can share with your audience. Homeopathybooks.in is again a free library of all the books and journals which are available free, which are copyright free. They are good for self-study. They are all available online, so you can study those books also, and to better understand homeopathy. So these are the 3 primarily websites that I would recommend.
Good, very nice. Good question. क्या बोल रहे हैं? अच्छा, Anirudh Agrawal wants to ask a question, so you just give him the. Anirudh,
hello.
Please.
Yeah, hello, good afternoon, everyone, and thanks a lot, Dr. Bhatia, for giving such a nice overview about and all the myths you have very beautifully cleared about the homeopathy. Sir, I am a patient of ulcerative colitis, and I am on homeopathy. And thanks to homeopathy doctors, I am feeling much better. In Jaipur, I have visited almost 5 to 6 homeopaths. I could not find yours, unfortunately, and I think somebody told about Asha Homeopathy also, but because of little distance, because I live in Malvinagar, so I could not visit you. But what I found after visiting 5 or 6 homeopaths means it was very common for all of them that they don't provide any prescription. Means it is, of course, after going from allopathy to Ayurvedic and then coming to this homeopathy, I am amazed by its results and the chronic diseases as pointed out by you also. including the ulcerative colitis, diabetes, etc. But what I found in general that most of the homeopaths, why they don't provide prescriptions? What is the harm? I mean, yeah, means
yes.
I don't know whether you are following this or not, as I have never visited you, but what is the problem behind this not providing the prescription?
Okay, first let me tell you what I do. I have a paperless clinic. I have a
Okay.
paperless clinic since 2006, so we don't cut prescriptions at all.
Okay.
Everything is managed by a patient client management software, clinic management software. So we usually don't give any prescriptions to patients because we try to be paper free. Having said that, but I never deny any patient the name of the remedy, because we have patients who need prescription. Because as I say, I treat a lot of patients outside India also. And when we have to ship the medicines outside India, if we do not ship the medicines, we have to tell the patient the name of the medicine. Okay, buy this medicine and take it. If we have to ship the medicine, we have to write the prescription. Otherwise, it never gets past customs.
Correct.
Then there are a lot of patients who need reimbursements. And for reimbursement, they need prescription. We give them prescription. And at any point of time, I tell all my patients, okay, I'll not give you prescription every time, because that is a lot of wastage of paper. But at any point of time, you want your whole medical record, all the prescriptions that I've made, you can take it at the time, whenever you want it, for your this insurance needs, or for your record also. If you are going to some other doctor also, I don't have any hesitation. Why should I be hesitant about it?
Exactly.
Second thing is, I would like to tell all the people in this conference that it is your legal right.
Yeah, exactly.
It is your legal right. No doctor can give you any medicine without telling you what he or she is getting.
Exactly my point. Means
Yes,
in allopathy also.
that is your legal right. No, it's not. Homeopaths are not immune to this.
Yeah.
If a homeopath doesn't tell you the name of the medicine, you can actually sue the doctor. Yes, that's legally. Now, why don't they give it? I'm not 100% sure why this has started, and this happens only in India.
Yes, exactly.
Outside India, if there's any homeopath, they'll tell you the remedy.
I came to know this because only Indian homeopaths.
In India, probably there is a problem that people tend to self-medicate a lot.
Yes.
बहुत कॉमन होता है इंडिया में ये.
करेक्ट.
आप मेरे पास आए दवाई के लिए कि आपको कॉन्स्टिपेशन हो रखा है, मैंने नक्सवामी 30 आपको प्रिस्क्राइब करी, और ये नक्सवामी 30 ही तो दी है, 15 रुपए की शीशी मिलती है, डॉक्टर ने 500 रुपए का बात के दे रहा है. अब हम खुद ही दवाई की दुकान से वो खा लेके. Patients don't realize that I'm not selling that Naxwami 30.
Exactly.
I am giving my skills, my experience, my knowledge of so many years. I'm not charging for that 15 rupees or 20 rupees or 30 rupees medicine.
Yes.
And the problem is that Indian home patients often tend to self-medicate. Very, very common, because the drugs are very easily available. And sometimes that self-medication is also very harmful to the patient. Especially now, suppose we are an ulcerative colitis patient.
Yes.
A chronic disease has to be managed which is ulcerative colitis kind, or Crohn's disease type of disease. They need to be managed very carefully. Yes. There are relapses which can happen. There are intermediate aggravations that can happen, and you need a lot of skillful handling.
Definitely.
It's not possible that a patient comes to me, okay, अब मेरे को इस दवाई से फायदा हो रहा है, अब मैं खुद ही खाता रहूंगा, मेरे को डॉक्टर के पास जाने की जरूरत नहीं है. और अच्छा, ऐसा नहीं कि होम्योपैथी में सेल्फ मेडिकेशन होता है. हमारे पास एलोपैथी वाले पेशेंट्स भी आते हैं ना, पर्चे लेके. बिल्कुल. साहब, हमने 5 साल से दवाई खा रहे हैं. क्यों प्रिस्क्राइब कब करी? डॉक्टर ने 5 साल पहले करी थी. आपने 5 साल से कभी दिखाया? नहीं दिखाया. क्यों नहीं? उसने प्रिस्क्राइब कर दी ना. नो मॉनिटरिंग. So yes, there is no follow-up, no monitoring. People tend to self-medicate a lot, and these are actual practical issues. But even after all these practical issues, I'm not a fan of not giving the name of the medicine to the patient, especially if the patient wants it. If my patient is not asking for it, I'll not bother to tell him.
Okay. Yes.
But
yes.
if my
Yeah, that is
patient
fine.
wants it, if my patient wants it for documentation, for insurance, for travel, for whatever reason, I'm happy to.
Yeah. Exactly. Because in allopathy also, if we visit any allopath, they don't bother about, yes, of course, in allopathy also, as you are also telling that people self-medicate, but it is their problem. But if everyone or every homeopath,
Another reason, Anirudh, is that homeopaths also give a lot of placebo. Because some, yes, it's what happens is sometimes we have got potencies, high potencies. Sometimes we have to give very one dose or two dose.
yeah,
And sometimes that two dose can work for months.
yeah.
We don't need to repeat the medicine, but we cannot tell the patient, okay, ये 2 पुड़िया ले और अब कोई दवाई की जरूरत नहीं है.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
तो कभी कभी क्लासिकल होम्योपैथ्स में हम लोग बिना मेडिसिन की दवाई भी देते हैं.
हाँ हाँ.
एंड जब वो दवाई दी जाती है वो पेशेंट के भले के लिए दी जाती है.
सही बात है.
लेकिन जब वो दवाई दी जाती है, वो प्लेसिबो दी जाती है, वो एम्प्टी पिल्स दी जाती हैं, उस वक्त हम मरीज को ये नहीं कह सकते कि हम आपको प्लेसिबो दे रहे हैं.
So actually,
yeah, that is fine.
Important question.
Yes.
Dr. Anirudh, it is a time for the next speaker. So it was a very important issue that you have raised, and Dr. साहब बहुत अच्छे से उसको explain किए हैं. So
thank you.
Sir, we are very, very fortunate to have you actually, and you explained so well all the concepts in 1.5 hours. It is really enlightening for us. And thank you once again that you accepted our invitation out of your busy schedule. You prepared and you spoke to us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Dr. Amit. Thank you so much for having me today. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.